Hey guys, my name is Yasmina and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to do a reading vlog and review of A Deadly Education by Naomi Novik. This is the first book in a new YA fantasy series called The Scholomance. And this was a very hyped book for everyone else, but also for me. And I'll get more into why in a minute. It came out at the end of October. I pre-ordered it because I was very excited. Before I even received it, I started seeing reviews of other people who have already read it. The reviews were not good, guys, which made me very sad and confused about this book. However, I want to read it. I bought it now, so I definitely want to read it. So Naomi Novik wrote Uprooted, which I loved. I loved that book. I read it years ago and I loved it. And I also have another book by her called His Majesty's Dragon, which I haven't started yet, but again, that's sort of like classic fantasy. And I'm very excited to read that. So I have very high hopes about this because it's Naomi Novik. But again, since the reviews that are coming out aren't that great, I don't know. I want to talk about the reason why I picked this up, because I think it's a little bit different than other people's reason. Just to clue you guys in, this is a magic school book, and the Scholomance is a dark academy, a dark magic school, which already, to me, sounds great. However, what sounds even better, and the reason I picked this up is because it's based off of Romanian mythology. The Scholomance is a Romanian mythology. I'm Romanian. Hi, if you're new to my channel. When I first heard about this book coming out, I was very excited because there's not a lot of books inspired by Romanian mythology directly. Like, there's a lot of books about Dracula and vampires. The original word in Romanian is called Scholomance. That was the name of the school, but it got changed into a German word, which is Scholomance. So these days it's kind of known as the Scholomance School, the Scholomance Legend. Super quick summary of the Scholomance Legend, since we don't know that much about it. The Scholomance, or Scholomance, was a school of black magic located in the mountainous region of Romania called Transylvania. The school was deep underground and was allegedly run by the devil. It enrolled about 10 students who would become the Scholomance. The students would learn magic over the course of 7 or 9 years, and their final task would be to transcribe humanity's entire history into a book called the Scholomance Book. You might also be familiar with Scholomance from the World of Warcraft dungeon by the same name, where this school teaches necromancy to its disciples. I'm gonna read this book. I'll film clips every now and again when I have something to say about it as I read it, but otherwise I will come back at the end with a wrap-up and review, so stay tuned for that. And just FYI, I'm gonna try to keep this as spoiler-free as possible, because this is a newly released book, and so if you want to read it, I'm not gonna discourage you from reading it. So yes, let's move on to the reading vlog of A Deadly Education. Okay, so I'm literally 4 pages into the book, and the name of the main character is Galadriel. As in Lord of the Rings, Galadriel. Okay. A bit weird, but fine. So I'm about 70 pages in, and I don't really like this main character so far. She's very frustrated, and it makes me frustrated. And she's so negative about everything. I mean, to be fair, this is a school that is basically trying to murder its students. There is a lot of attacks from random things, which is fun. I really am enjoying all of the random things that attack them. But I don't like the main character, and there is so much telling. There is so much telling of the world building and the background of this character, and I don't really like that very much. I prefer when world building is done in the scene, and you let the reader figure out what's happening and figure out the world building from the scene. But this is literally just pages and pages of telling. It's done with voice, and I think maybe that will distract some people from understanding that that is info dumping. So I don't know if it's done on purpose, that it's done with such a... because the voice of the main character is very strong. She has a very strong voice. And by that I mean very annoyingly, she just complains all the time about everything. But that's how the world building, the info dumping is done as well. But it's just so much of it. It kind of bothers me because I just want to see the actual scene. I want to see the characters interacting with each other and fighting these creatures and like doing the things, and not just read pages and pages of info dumping. So that's where I'm at so far. But I am enjoying the sort of idea behind it. I am enjoying, like I said, the school murdering students. That's fun. That is a fun concept. Okay, so I'm about 155 pages in. I'm so disappointed in this. Oh my gosh. It's just so much telling. This is still so much telling. It has not gotten better in that regard, and I just feel so sad because this really has the potential to be really good. There's some moments in this that are actually really good, but it's bogged down so unnecessarily by all of this world building. I still don't like the main character. I think she's really annoying. She's so ungrateful and she's just complaining all the time. I'm really sad. I'm genuinely sad. This is not a Twilight situation. Like, I genuinely want to like this, and I'm trying to find crumbs of it to like, and there are crumbs. There are definitely crumbs, but you can't just have crumbs when the whole thing is supposed to be a full meal. You can't just like the crumbs. That defeats the purpose. So I finished it. I finished Deadly Education. My feelings have not changed. However, I am going to gather my thoughts and make a more coherent review. All I can say right now is that I'm glad it's done. It wasn't bad, it was just a disappointment, which is almost just as bad. Okay, so here we are at the final thought / review of A Deadly Education by Naomi Novik. And I mean, I think you could tell from the reading vlog that I was definitely disappointed in this book, but let's talk a little more in depth about what I thought about it. So in the end, after I finished it, I gave this 2 out of 5 stars on Goodreads. And in Goodreads terms, that equates to it was okay, which I can agree with because it wasn't, I don't want to say it was bad, but there were a lot of things I did not enjoy about it, but there were at the same time some things I did enjoy. This book made me chuckle a few times throughout. What I really like about it is the premise. Like I said, I love this idea of the Scholomance and of this school that is so dangerous to its students and tries to kill its students. I loved all of the creatures that we saw throughout the book and all of the things that attacked the main character. I also love that it was a bit whimsical and kind of ridiculous to an extreme that was very on purpose. And I kind of like that because I like having humor in my fantasy, and I feel like this was very self-aware in parts where it was so ridiculously extreme that it kind of made fun of itself in that sense, and I really enjoyed that. I also liked that it was diverse, or at least it tried. It tried to be diverse. There were definitely students from all over the world, all kinds of ethnicities. Different languages were spoken and talked about in this book, so in that sense it definitely tried to be diverse. I know it didn't completely succeed, and I know there are some issues with some of the way certain cultures were described. From my perspective, I like that at least it tried to be diverse. But then the things I didn't like, I really didn't like, and I already mentioned most of these. First of all, the character Galadriel, or Elle. I get why she was written this way, I really do, but it drove me up the wall. I think she was so obnoxious, she was so ungrateful for everything, and especially for the other character who was just being nice to her and always trying to help her, and she hated him, or at least she pretended like she hated him every single step of the way, no matter how many times he saved her, no matter how many times he tried to be nice to her, she was still an asshole to him. And I didn't appreciate that. Again, I understand why she did it, I understand why she was written this way, but I just think it was not done in the best way possible. She did not enjoy anything about being there. And of course, I mean, yes, it's a school that's trying to kill you, but you know, she was there for a reason. But she did not enjoy anything about the school at all. I feel like a lot of the world building, like the folklore and the creatures, were kind of taken from stuff like Dungeons and Dragons or World of Warcraft or these sort of fantasy world, so it wasn't like everything was completely unique. There were some things that were definitely unique that I've never heard about before, I've never read before, so I really like those things. But then other kind of magic systems and again like creatures, mostly like monsters, I feel like I have already seen in different media, mainly Dungeons and Dragons. But aside from that, my biggest issue and the thing that I complained throughout the reading vlog about was the over-explanation of everything and the info dumping, the endless info dumping that just seemed so unnecessary and so extreme. And again, it was kind of hidden, it was trying to hide itself within the voice of the main character, but in my opinion it didn't work. It was just way too over-explained and it kind of took away from what was happening. On the same note, I feel like there was a lot less action in the book and just a lot of info dumping. So the ratio of info dumping to actual scenes that we were a part of was very skewed towards info dumping. There was a lot of things that could have been shown instead of told, like scenes that we were shown and told about in the book by the main character instead of actually being in the scene and seeing these things happen, which, you know, is one of the basic sort of concepts of writing is show, don't tell. And while there is definitely place to tell and not show, this again I feel like just went, you know, into one extreme. I really like this concept. I think it could have been done really well. It's just that this particular instance of it wasn't. And I know it's gonna be a trilogy, so I might give the next books a go just because I feel like maybe she will listen to some criticism and maybe she will improve in the next book, because again I feel like the whole premise is really cool, but at the same time if the main character doesn't really change so much, then I'm probably still not gonna like it, but I am willing to give the sequels a go at least. But yes, I think that's everything I'm going to say. I don't really want this video to be too long, but I did want to talk about this book because I feel like it was very hyped up and then, yeah, a lot of people didn't like it and I kind of bought into the hype, to be honest. And also, like I said in the beginning, because I had a more personal reason to be interested in this book, but ultimately, yeah, I didn't enjoy it very much and I was disappointed. But if you guys have any more recommendations on this general type of story, like dark academia, yeah, maybe schools where, you know, it's not just sunshine and rainbows and friendships and the teachers are nice to you and you learn things and that's all there is. Again, I really like that aspect of the school being the villain, the enemy in this. So if you have any recommendations for things that are similar to that premise, I would love to know about them so I can read them. But in the end, the original reason why I picked this book up had very little significance to the actual story. She basically just took the very basic idea of the Scholomance legend and the name and then, you know, created her own world and story around it, which is totally fine. If it would have had more of the original element to the story, maybe I would have enjoyed it more, because again, it's something that is very fun to me to see something from my own culture depicted in books, but that was not the case with this, so whatever. But yeah, do let me know if you read this book and what you thought about it, or if you haven't read this book, what is a book that you had high expectations of, or something that sounded really good to you and like it could have been a 5-star read and then you ended up being really let down by it and giving it a 1 or 2 stars. Leave that in the comment section below and we can talk more about having high expectations for a book and then being let down. It's not a fun feeling, but it does happen, unfortunately, sometimes. But that was it for me today, guys. Thank you so much for watching and I hope you have a great day and I'll see you next time in a new video. Bye!